Hey everyone, so I'm out here in my deck garden without a coat on in February, and this is not at all normal for Chicago, but I am loving it. So what I'm going to do today is something that might be jumping the gun a little bit, but the groundhog and my spring bulbs are telling me that spring is almost here. So what I'm going to do is get all of my pots that are kind of sitting in their winter positions and get them in position for the garden season. Now, I do have a whole video showing you how I store my pots over the winter. I will link that down below if you're interested in, but I'll give you a little bit of information right now. So let me show you where my pots are, what plants I have, and then we'll get them out in position here, head to the back deck, and do the same thing. So basically, what I do is just shove everything into a corner for a few reasons. One, that helps protect it from the cold. If you move your potted plants up against the house, if you're not going to store them like in a shed or in a garage, that's going to be better than leaving them more out in the open. Also, I take empty pots that don't have plants but still have soil and use those as extra insulation barriers. So I think everything kind of around the edge here is an empty pot with soil. And then when you are putting them away for winter, this was something that was new to me, but you don't want to leave them in the sun. So you can see here how the sun kind of creates a shade in this corner. And this is the best thing to do with your pots over winter, because if you leave them somewhere where they're going to get a lot of sun, the sun can still warm up the pot enough that it thaws, and then at night it freezes again. So you're going to have on repeat a freeze-thaw cycle, which is not great for your root ball. But because we're starting to warm up, I want to make sure that these plants get the sun that they need. So as far as which pots have plants in them, that includes strawberries, 2 rhubarb, which I don't know if I'm going to keep after this year. We'll see. My 2 raspberries that I'm going to prune in a little bit. And then I think everything else is again empty except for soil. So I'm not going to worry about emptying those out right now until I'm ready to plant them up. But I am going to get things uncovered, put them in place, and then we'll head out to the back deck and do the same thing. Well, I realized the camera turned off while I was moving things around, but what can you do? So let me show you. I have things in a spot. It's not the spot they're going to be in permanently, and often because I garden in containers, some of my pots will get shifted around throughout the season no matter what, but at least I've moved everything now kind of out of the corner and into a sunny position. First off, all of these are either empty or there are still some root balls I was going to pull out, but this is completely empty, that's completely empty. I think there's root balls in here, but because they've been in the shade, the soil is still frozen. So I'm going to leave them in the sun so that they can melt, and then any root balls that are still in there I can take out. Now this is not the way you're supposed to store the aquapot lights, so ignore that, but I did tarp them to hopefully protect them from like freezing and thawing of the soil. Obviously they have not cracked, so we'll see how these do once I get them planted up this year. Coming over here, well, on this side I have the tarp that I use to cover the pots, and then what I use to cover the table. Those, once I get my hose set up, I will hose those down, get them cleaned off, fold it up, and put inside. But for now, there's some ice chunks sitting on them, so I'm going to leave them out here until I do that. Coming around the corner here then, I have my strawberries, which are coming back with green leaves. I have my 2 raspberries that I'm going to prune, and because the sun's behind me, this direction gets the most sun, so I want these in sunny spots throughout the day. I think, oh, and behind them, those are the 2 rhubarbs that again I think I'm going to not grow anymore, but we'll see. But since this pathway now is kind of blocked by the dead zinnia branches and the pokey raspberry branches, let's head back this way. So back here, these are pots and grow bags that need to be emptied out. I think, was this, what were you? Were you a dahlia? I don't know if you were a dahlia or not. Now I can't remember at all. I do know this was my morning glory, but I can't remember what the other ones were. Oh, also something odd is I feel like, I mean, I can't tell, but I feel like something might have been scrounging around in this bed, potentially pigeons, only because there were some sprouts that I no longer see. Now, maybe they died from cold weather or something, but I feel like something was in this bed. but I guess we'll see. And then back over here are just some things I'm going to take inside. So these two pots over here are the ones that I don't like because it's hard to get the root balls out of. And then I'm going to actually be using flexible hoses in the garden this year. So I no longer need this hose reel. So now let's head out to the back deck where I think there might only be 3 pots that I need to move back into position. But I'm very excited because I'm pretty sure my holly trees that are zone 5 survived the winter in containers. Okay, we are out here on the back deck now. And like I said, there are only 3 plants back here. My 2 holly trees and then my beach plum there in the back. So I'm not going to uncover the furniture because I'm not going to like sit on it and hang out here and put the cushions out yet. But I will kind of move them into position for where they're going to be. And then I'll also move these plants into position. All right, that corner over there is empty now. I still need to sweep, but I have my tomato cages back there. Furniture, like I said, is going to stay covered. This beach plum, which I love so much, although I have to get a second one in order for it to actually create plums, which is not what I was told at the garden center. So last year it was over to the left of the couch, but I think I like it better here on the right side between the chair and the couch. Now again, it's on wheels. Super easy to move around as things change and grow. But I'm very happy that my holly trees are back in place. I just got those last fall. Again, for container gardening, you really want to go down 2 zones below your current zone. So I'm 6A. To overwinter successfully, I should go down to 4A, but these were 5. They were $20 each though, so I couldn't say no. But I think they've survived the winter. So I'm excited to have these grow in the corners there. And then I do have bulbs coming up. So there's daffodils in here. In here, look at all the bulbs. So tarping has definitely worked. I'll give a complete update on my tarping adventure to keep my bulbs alive once they actually like fully come up and bloom. So I know that I didn't accidentally kill them. But there's a ton in there. A few more in here. And then a couple popping up over there as well. I'm still probably going to tarp for a little bit if we do get a lot of rain in a row. But this is the most I've had successfully come up from overwintering in my garden. I'm so excited right now because this is when it starts to feel like garden season, when everything is out of the corner, back in place. Now, it's not like there's a bunch growing up here, but I have some green from the holly trees. That's why I want more evergreens up here as well. But I'm just so happy it finally feels like garden season is here and much earlier than it normally is. So keep your fingers crossed. We do have an early spring. Again, if we get a cold snap, I can easily wheel things back into the corner and throw the burlap or a tarp over them. But I'm hoping they can stay where they're at until next winter. So thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Bye.